Set. Places, everybody. And action.
It's time once again for the Hooked on Movies podcast. Today we're going to be reviewing the 2000 release Erin Brockovich, celebrating 25 years of movie history. With me are Ken.
Bite my ass, Krispy Kreme.
And Ted.
So, Eric, I just went out there and performed sexual favors. 634 blowjobs in 5 days. I'm really quite tired.
Is that your weekend or is that your movie quote?
It was the weekend, man.
His new Ted record.
Yeah. Well, you know, Ted, they're called boobs. They're called boobs, Ted.
Yeah, they are.
I got boobs, Ted.
I got
Want to milk me?
I got nipples, Greg. You wanna milk me?
Oh, we're just intermingling movies here on this one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. We're talking Erin Brockovich. I can't believe it's 25 years. That still blows my mind. Sorry, I used that word there, Ted, if that excited you. I'm sorry.
I
was looking forward to the weekend again.
I know.
Exactly.
I know.
I'm actually working for the weekend.
Oh, look at that. A little music. Little lover boy. Well, so how did everybody's week go? How about you, Ken? Anything exciting happen?
Just continue to watch Evil Season 2, and that's about it right about now. I'm not really into much as far as movies or anything. Sports, of course, as always.
Of course. Football weekend, obviously we all watch that. How about you, Ted?
Well, so I started to rewatch the Marvel movies. I started to watch them in the chronological order, which is how they should have probably been released to begin with. So I've watched the original Captain America, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, Iron Man 2, the Hulk with Edward Norton, which wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Well, Iron Man 2 is pretty bad too.
No, it's actually really good. But that's another discussion. The first Avengers movie, Thor: Dark
World
was Dark World, yeah. Which actually on second watch, probably fifth or sixth watch, actually isn't that terrible. And then
Are you tied to a chair, forced to watch it 6 times?
Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, right.
And so then I watched Iron Man 3 and Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
All right, we get it. We got
my
it. You
goodness.
got it. All right.
You have a problem here.
Avengers: Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Civil War, Black Widow, Black Panther, and I just finished today Spider-Man:
Superman.
Homecoming.
Yeah.
Did you know that they're coming out with a new Superman movie?
Yeah.
So we're really doing that again, huh?
James Gunn.
We're going to really try that again.
How many movies did you watch, Ted?
I watched a lot.
I know that. Do you know,
Yeah.
Is there a number?
So far, let's see. I can count back.
How were you able to get all those blowjobs in between?
3, 4,
Talk about time management.
Right.
14.
Do we
15,
have to make them count?
16, 17, 18. So, yeah, 18.
So at an average of 2.5 a movie?
Almost. Yeah.
39 hours, 40
And
hours.
And also, since the last time we talked, I've also watched Meet the Parents and another movie, too. I can't remember. But, yeah, I have to do something to keep my time. I can't give blowjobs all the time. I mean,
I like how we've gone on this theme a little too.
it is what it is at this point, So that's what happens when you get divorced. You got to give blowjobs. It's part of the divorce decree.
Oh, is that in writing? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was. It was. Yeah, she made me sign it.
Supplementing his income somehow
Exactly.
on the
You
streets
didn't-
of Quincy.
You didn't fight it, did you?
No, not really. Not that part. So, Eric, how was your week?
Well, now I can't compete with that, but I'll kind of go through my series of movies and shows. I finally watched the end of Sopranos season 5, rolling into 6.
You're getting there. Yeah,
Yeah.
So Tony's been shot.
Yeah, he was shot. Yeah. That was episode 1, season 6.
Okay, so Steve Buscemi gets it.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Tony
Steve
killed him.
Yeah,
Tony blew his
kills
head
him.
off with the shotgun. Well, I did that. I watched Sideways, Ken. I had to watch it. We talked about it.
Oh, I love Sideways.
I love Sideways, too. It actually got better the more I watched it. I watched the new Twisters movie. I put it up there with the Footloose remake.
Oh, really? You didn't like it at all?
No.
Unnecessary is how we'll put it.
Crazy. It was. I mean, the special effects were good, but yeah,
I thought it was a pretty decent story.
It is okay. It's hard to top the original.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't use any of the old characters, though.
No, half of them are dead. And then a classic movie, one of my favorites of all time, No Country for Old Men.
Oh, I love that movie.
Incredible movie.
Yes, and upcoming we'll be doing another Coen Brothers movie short in a couple episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I did finish Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, you finally did. All right. They're all dead.
So was there a murder?
Are they all dead at the end?
I don't know, but the ending was kind of dead.
I've only seen the first season, so it wasn't bad.
I mean, all 4 seasons are good. It's just this one kind of just.
And then I'm thinking of possibly if I can finagle a copy of it from an unwiry source, Landman.
Oh yes, I've not started that yet, but I've heard.
I don't have Paramount, but I've heard numerous people talk about this movie series.
I've heard very, very good things.
So that's all I got, guys.
That's even your cat's talking about it.
Very excited about Landman. Yes.
I know we had a hard time figuring out what qualifies us to do this movie, so I'll just say we all have gotten things from lawyers asking us to be part of their class action suits. So we got that going for us. So
I have participated and received quite a small sum of money for my class action.
Oh, there you go.
$8 on one, maybe a couple bucks on the other. Oh yeah, just
a few years ago, I got $1 and something.
Yeah.
So basically, what these people got from their settlement,
probably somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah,
probably a little more. I would assume,
give or take $5.
We did not tell the listeners, of course, as we always do, where they can find us. Facebook, Twitter, Hooked on _movies, the Dorkening Network, Facebook. We are on Facebook. If I remember right, you've never seen it before, Ted?
Oh, no. Yeah, I saw. Did I see this in the movie theater? I might have, because this is about around the time where my ex and I we would go see almost all the movies for Oscar time. So I would imagine I saw this in the movie theater. I would be shocked if I didn't see this in the movie theater.
How about you, Ken? Cable?
Sometime. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably about 10, 15 years ago.
Where Ken comes in as cable, I come in as DVD rental. So I rented it sometime years and years and years and years ago.
Well, it had to be at least 25.
Probably 15. Probably around 10.
Okay. So
same probably here.
A little bit later to the party.
Wasn't in a hurry to see this movie.
It was Julia Roberts won best actress for this.
Yeah.
So
oh yeah.
It was a big deal when she did.
Yeah, I forgot to thank Erin Brockovich.
Yeah, she did. Ironically enough, man,
thank you for all who made this possible, except the person that actually lived the life.
Right, and I think she brought her as her guest to the Academy Awards that year too.
Makes sense. So she's just nervous being up there, right?
Oh, good God, yeah. And that's what they all say too.
Yeah,
they are like, they say it's the most nerve-wracking thing ever.
Julia Roberts needed to get out of her rom-com stage in her life, I guess.
And she went back.
Tell us about the particulars of Erin Brockovich.
The particulars, Eric. Okay. Erin Brockovich, directed by Steven Soderbergh. I guess we could say the great Steven Soderbergh.
He's up there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
sure.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Screenplay by Susanna Grant. The music and score was by Thomas Newman. Hello, Newman. Running time of 130 minutes. It was released March 17th, 2000. It had a budget of $52 million. It had a box office gross of $256.3 million. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a critic score of a certified fresh 85% and an audience score of 81%. So right in line with each other. And then IMDb here again this week is a little bit off from the audience score with a 7.5. Erin Brockovich stars. Julia Roberts as Erin Brockovich. Albert Finney as Edward Masry. Aaron Eckhart as George. Marge Helgenberger as Donna Jensen. Tracy Walter as Charles Embry. Peter Coyote as Kurt Potter. I had actually forgotten he was in this movie. Cherry Jones as Pamela Duncan. Conchetta Farrell as Brenda, Mr. Masry's secretary. Adila Barnes as Anna. Scarlett Palmers as Shanna Jensen. Michael Harney as Pete Jensen. Vienna Cox as Teresa Delaval. Scotty Leavenworth as Matthew Brown. Gina Gallego as Ms. Sanchez, a PG&E attorney. TJ Tyne as David Foyle. Valente Rodriguez as Donald. Jamie Harold as Scott. And then we had 3 people in the movie that were actually the real people. So we had Erin Brockovich. She was a waitress. Ed Masry was a diner patron in the same restaurant. And then Judge Leroy A. Simmons was the actual judge that presided over the trial. And he played himself in the movie. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool indeed.
Yeah.
Well, let's introduce Ken's tidbits.
Ken's tidbits.
Do.
Ken's
Yay.
tidbits.
This film was shot in 1999 over 11 weeks, of which took place in Ventura, California.
Hello.
Julia Roberts ate up most of the
Money?
the budget of this
Yeah.
with $20 million. Who was first actress to ever cross
Yeah.
the $20 million barrier.
Yes, she
Wow.
Albert Finney actually turned this down, and Danny DeVito actually had to convince Albert Finney's girlfriend at the time to reconsider. They offered to, change all like the scheduling to fit him only having to be in California for short periods of time.
So there was no
This-
chance of Danny DeVito being in this movie? Okay.
That would have been interesting. I could see Danny
Yeah,
DeVito.
no, I could not.
I could.
As the little attorney?
He was
I
a
mean,
small
he played an attorney in The Rainmaker.
Yes, he did. A little attorney.
Steven Soderbergh, as you guys had mentioned, as being a great director. He had 2 films actually nominated for Best Picture the same year. This one and Traffic.
Yep.
So that's kind
Traffic. Yeah, I forgot
kind of a
about that
cool
one.
thing.
Yeah. Top of the world he was.
Yes.
of top of the world, Mom.
It's,
top of the world.
and it's only one of like 5 or 6 times in Academy Award history that happened.
Not a lot of tidbits considering this is based on a true story movie, which Erin Brockovich says that it's like 95% true, somewhere in that range, which we will tell you that it's not 95% true because there are things that are in the movie that have been adjusted.
Yes.
Calling her a liar?
Well,
I think that
the romance is one of them.
Yes, that's
So.
a big one. The other thing that Steven Soderbergh cut out of the script was
Her getting sick.
her getting sick. Yes, so the real life Erin Brockovich really did get sick from doing her work out in Hinckley, California.
Oh.
Yeah.
They kept on
And-
offering her water and things that were baked with the water, and of course she's going to get sick. Come on.
Soderbergh thought that it would be unbelievable if she got sick.
Well, I think it's probably one of those overplayed things. Like, hey, the person that's going to save the town, comes, to blows with the thing that's killing the town in the first place. So,
And he also said that he didn't want this to turn out to be Philadelphia.
Yeah,
The
I can see that.
The movie Philadelphia, which is a great movie.
Academy Award winner.
Yes, it is, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
but I couldn't find much about who else was up for the roles here. It seems like they got who they wanted and they just pressed on.
Well, once you're paying Julia Roberts $20 million, you're kind of a little limited there on your
Yeah, it's very true. Because Aaron Eckhart wasn't really well known at this time.
I had a hard time believing him as a
as a
biker
biker.
dude.
Did you
Yeah, we'll
really?
talk about that. Yeah, I had a hard time.
Really?
I think it's because I saw him in other things before I saw this. That's one problem with seeing a movie 10, 15 years later.
What did you see? Oh, okay. I see. I got you.
Yeah.
I see.
What'd you see him in?
Well, Batman.
Well, yeah,
Dark Knight.
the Dark Knight.
Birdman. Yeah,
He was in the Dark Knight. Yeah, he was Two-Face.
He's always played kind of clean shaven, clean cut kind of guys. All right, Eric, why don't you go ahead and start us off with the setup?
In 1993, Erin Brockovich is an unemployed single mother of 3 children who has recently been injured in a car crash with a doctor and is suing him. Her lawyer, Ed Masry, expects to win, but Erin's explosive courtroom behavior under cross-examination loses her the case, and Ed will not return her phone calls afterwards. One day, he arrives at work to find her in the office, apparently working. She says that he told her things would work out, and they did not, and that she needed a job. Ed takes pity on Erin, and she gets a paid job at the office, no benefits, of course. Yeah, that doctor was a dick. That courtroom scene.
Oh, his lawyer, I wanted to punch him.
Oh, yeah. This is a really good setup because you kind of really see, she's gone through a divorce. Somehow she got stuck with all the kids. She doesn't have any money. She's got no job. She's driving around that shitbox first generation Hyundai, which they're not even on the road anymore. And somehow, I love it, the guy just T-bones her.
Oh, yeah.
But yet that car is still driving afterwards.
I know, right?
They replace a door. Here you go.
That's the 2% that's not real.
And she walked away. That's the other. Yeah.
Well, here's some things that weren't real at the beginning of this part of the movie. Ed never represented her as her lawyer.
It was Vitro.
So when they say it's like 95% accurate, it's like how?
Numbers going down a little bit there.
And this should be a thing now. One of our little segments. Ken's
backstories.
Ken's pet peeves.
Ken's pet peeves.
If it's based off of a true story, it's really not, and that really gets under Ken's skin.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a number that you're looking for, Ken? Like a suitable, like 80%, 90, 70?
This movie probably is on the better side of those type of these type of movies. The problem is you get to Remember with the Titans, and you get some of these movies that just no. I mean, but this isn't really one of them. But I do like to pick out things that are not true. What's the problem with telling the story the way it happened? It's just as good most of the times.
Because not all the times.
Ken wants truth in advertising. He wants it to say based loosely on a true story.
It's this, and then later on we find out that her boyfriend George was Hispanic. First of all,
he's a mix of a couple of people, and then
caramba.
The most interesting part about that is he tried to sue the real Erin Brockovich, and the suit was so bad he got thrown in prison for bringing the lawsuit. The lawyer got disbarred.
It was also her ex-husband was part of it too.
And him tried to do that.
Yeah.
They said that she was sleeping with Ed Masry and tried to discredit her and everything.
And you've seen Ed because Ed's in the movie. He's sitting right behind the kids when she's taking their order. She's not sleeping with him.
But
that's a good tidbit.
That is a tidbit.
I was waiting to say that for the movie.
Yeah. So really, you're based on a true story is going farther and farther and farther down, getting away.
It's still pretty decent for a based on true story. So, I mean, Erin is an interesting character. I mean, she's a foul-mouthed, smart person who has made some bad life choices. Mainly with men.
She has to have close to an eidetic memory.
I would think so, like a
photographic memory.
Yeah.
That's what an eidetic memory is.
You know, she's.
Is that made up too? That she has a photographic memory?
No,
I doubt it.
I think
Okay.
that's real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she's like super on top of everything.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Kind of like, is it Mary Lou Henner that has
Mary Lou Henner. Yeah. So attractive women can remember a lot, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the first glimpses we have her is her applying for that job. She's overly nervous and she's just rambling on. And I think if she had toned it down a little bit, I think she probably gets the job. But she
has no skills. She has no marketable skills.
No. That doctor was never going to hire her.
Yeah, but I mean, she was like way too wired, though. She was just overly too excited.
She was trying to sell herself. I like anybody does in a job interview, especially when you've been rejected as much as obviously that she has. I mean, it makes sense. No, I think she's a very compelling character. The reason that I think that the movie overall works is because she is relatable. And she seems very human. She seems like somebody you would know. And,
but I wouldn't put this all on the doctor. I mean, she doesn't have a filter. You know, and not having a filter does put people off.
Well, yeah, I mean, it cost her case against the
exactly
in the courtroom. I think that lawyer also in the courtroom scene. Lawyers have a way of being able to read people, where
they do.
I think that he read her, that he was getting under her skin, and he knew how to press her buttons.
Yeah.
And he knew he was going to get a response out of her. Because he was a dick. He was a complete asshole. Really put her on trial, in a way, there.
Yeah.
You know, about everything but the fact that she was hit by that doctor. You know, as far as that sort of law goes, I guess he did a good job.
Find it interesting, though there was no witnesses to say how this went.
That's so hard, though, with traffic.
Car accidents, there are rarely any witnesses.
Yeah.
Because people don't hang around.
Right.
And if they do hang around, a lot of times they leave when the police come.
Right.
Or the ambulance comes.
Right.
Seemed like a busy intersection, though. You'd think somebody would have stayed around.
Doesn't matter.
From a man who does auto claims for a living, you would be surprised. I'd say I get a witness statement on a police report, maybe 1 out of 100.
Oh,
They're never there.
I'm surprised it was 1 out of 100.
Never there. And verifiable witness statements are even less.
And like you said earlier in the podcast, the car just keeps on going like it didn't even.
Yeah, I know they put a used door on it. It looks like, but I'm like, there's no way that car is moving after that hit.
But we establish who she is.
Yes,
she's foul mouthed. She doesn't know how to just keep her emotions, and that and she never learns either. Throughout the whole movie, this is still the way she is.
Yeah.
So I mean, which is good and bad.
And if you don't like it.
Yeah, she's unapologetically herself.
Very much.
That's very endearing, in my opinion. It's very endearing. I wish I had that sort of confidence.
From what I remember in the movie, Ed never said that everything was going to be okay. The lawyers are going to say we're going to go after these guys, but...
Okay, Ed's not necessarily an ambulance chaser, but he's going to say that. He's going to tell her.
What kind of law do they practice in that firm? Do you guys know?
Bullshit law.
Bullshit law?
Really,
okay.
It's not really law. And
I don't know. He's got a pretty decent staff. I would imagine they probably have some decent stuff.
There's 2 partners in the law firm. It's Masri and Vitro.
Yeah.
And so, I mean...
Now, is the other lawyer the one that comes later on in the film? And
no, that's a totally different...
That's a different lawyer.
Peter Coyote? That's a different...
He's from a high-powered law firm.
He's the one who gives them the capital to keep rolling.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure this is just in-town lawyer, probably the best lawyers in town, because they're probably not they're not big town.
And I don't see him having his name or face plastered on
billboards or side of buses,
Yellow Pages.
Well, the Yellow Pages. He might have. Well, he would definitely have been in the Yellow Pages.
I'm just kidding about that. Nobody
nobody
knows who are Yellow Pages except for the people that are listening to this podcast.
Correct.
He's made a decent living for himself.
Yeah.
You
So
have to have that kind of
he's
staff, and
We know he
Yeah.
has some health issues here and there. He's talked about that.
diabetes.
Yeah.
and he's also the type of lawyer that if he doesn't win, he doesn't get paid. And
Right.
so that's a big deal. So that's why he's not super rich.
Right.
But they kind of try to paint him off as a little bit of a jerk too at the beginning of the movie. He doesn't return her
little bit.
calls.
You kind of feel bad for him. She's a bull,
Yeah.
and she just stampedes right all over him because
Sure.
she sees that he's, as far as it comes, he's weaker than, as far as that sort of thing goes, than she is.
Well, she started working there before she even got hired.
I know, it's awesome.
Pretty much.
I've thought about doing something like that.
Maybe that's how you
doing
do
a
that
George
job, right?
Costanza.
Yeah, exactly. Just
The
walk
Penske file.
Yeah, just walk into White Sox offices and be like, "Guess
That
what?
might be a little harder to do.
I'm running this now, bitches."
Yeah.
And of course, the rest of the office doesn't particularly care for Erin. They don't
Not at all.
They don't like
Because-
how she presents herself
They don't like how she presents herself, and they don't like how she talks.
because she has boobs.
Well, yeah,
And an attitude.
she doesn't
Bite me,
take
Krispy
shit off.
Kreme.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
Great
She
line.
doesn't take shit off of anybody,
No.
and she knows that they're judging her because you get the feeling that she's been judged her whole adult life. I completely understand
Sure.
what she.
But someone who's supposedly a beauty queen knows that image is everything. And in a law firm, there is that dress for success, especially at this time of...
She's given that ship has so far sailed from her that she's been through so much shit. That's gone.
Yep.
I get it, but the job itself, though, doesn't look at it like that. They,
Sure.
they have clients that come in. They want their people to look presentable to the best that they can be. She doesn't look terrible in any type of way, but she shows a little bit more cleavage than everybody else does. She's not wearing office. She's wearing things for more of going out to a club or something.
You're the type of person that looks like they go out and have fun.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
When
Because she doesn't get it. Even when she investigates
oh no, she gets it.
Oh, I don't think she does.
What?
She doesn't know why she gets fired when she takes a week away for doing research.
Well, see, that's bullshit. Because she should have never been fired. Because he did give her permission to go do research. He just was ignoring her.
The question is, though, what kind of research was she doing? We all have had jobs. If I told my job that I'm going off to do research and I don't show up in the office for a week and I leave one message that, hey, I'm doing this,
what kind of research?
My job is not going to secure my job. But the thing is, you just can't do whatever you want unless that is your job description. That's not her job title. What about the job? What about her regular duties? Now she's not doing those either.
You said duties.
I did say duties. So the fact that she gets fired and she's like, "Oh, there's no way I should have been fired." That's bullshit. She should have been fired.
She also says that she's been checking in, and I'm sure that the fat ass.
He even said that she only checked in once, and she didn't get much of a detail.
I'm sure that tubby ass. I'm sure that tubby ass that hated her doesn't give him as her message.
Krispy Kreme, yeah. So.
I think they sabotage her.
Like you said,
give the messages to Masri,
but Masri also kind of doesn't. If you kind of looked at his desk, he's pretty frazzled. His mind is all over the place. He's not the best at focusing.
No.
So calling people back is not a top priority.
Well, he didn't call her back because he didn't want to deal with her. But he actually tells her that, that he got the message. But that's not how you do things. You don't pick up and just do whatever you want to do. And that's what she did. She picked up and did whatever she wanted to do. But what I'm saying here is she doesn't know any better. She doesn't know any better. She hasn't had a job in a long period of time. If a guy says, go ahead and do the research, she probably thinks that I'm good to doing the research. But most people who have a job know that they have to do more than just that research on that one case. They have to do their regular job as well. It's not like, hey, I gave you permission to slack off on everything else. She's a fish out of water. Let's be honest. She really doesn't belong here at first because she just doesn't know how things work. I mean, that's up to him to kind of like let her know on how things work. Maybe Wade told her, hey, do the research.
Nobody helps her figure out what she's supposed to do, really.
That's true.
I mean, the one lady does show her, we're supposed to file and things like that. And then Ed gives her that box and tells her to go through it for a pro bono case, which, him taking on a pro bono case with, not being paid if he doesn't win, I guess they would do that. But
well, they have, law firms have to take a certain amount of pro bono cases, from my understanding.
They do. Every attorney has to take, depending on their what type of attorney they are, do have to take up 1 or 2 pro bonos a year.
What the hell? Why didn't my lawyer want to take a pro bono case?
Maybe if you had some contaminated water, then maybe you'd be good to go.
Truth, you shouldn't use big words that you don't know the meaning of, Ed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she doesn't want to say that she doesn't know how to do her job either, because she doesn't want to seem like she's incompetent. So when he brings it to her, she doesn't say anything. She makes it sound like she knows what she's going to, that she knows how to do it.
I think time had passed, too, between when she starts working there and when he hands her that box.
Yeah, it's been a few months.
There's time had passed, even though it doesn't seem like it.
One of the ladies go, you've been here long enough, I don't need to tell you how to do your job.
Right. That could have been a little bit clearer, but you kind of have to pick up on context clues there. So she's seen enough cases that she's intrigued by this, poses a very honest question that even my remedial knowledge, probably a little bit more than remedial knowledge of the law, why, if you're doing a case for a house dispute sale, why would there be medical reports in there? And
exactly, that doesn't make sense if you're doing if you're doing land sales.
That would have raised my spidey senses immediately as
Exactly.
So since we're on that subject, Eric, let's go into the build.
The build. Erin's given files for a real estate case where the Pacific Gas and Electric Company, PG&E, is offering to purchase the home of Donna Jensen, a resident of Hinckley, California. Erin is surprised to see medical records in the file and visits Donna, who explains that she had simply kept all her PG&E correspondence together. Donna appreciates PG&E's help. She has had several tumors, and her husband has Hodgkin's lymphoma, but PG&E has always supplied a doctor at their own expense. Erin asks why they would do that, and Donna replies, because of the chromium. Erin begins digging into the case and finds evidence that the groundwater in Hinckley is seriously contaminated with carcinogenic hexavalent chromium. But PG&E has been telling Hinckley residents that they use a safer form of chromium. After several days away from the office doing the research, she's fired by Ed until he realizes that she had been working the entire time and sees what she has found out. Rehired, she continues her research and over time visits many Hinckley residents and wins their trust. She finds many cases of tumors and other medical problems in Hinckley. Everyone has been treated by PG&E doctors and thinks the cluster of cases is just a coincidence, unrelated to the safe chromium. The Jensens' claim for compensation grows into a major class action lawsuit, but the direct evidence only relates to PG&E's Hinckley plant, not to senior management. Ooh, it builds.
Ooh.
So she just keeps all her documents in one case. Imagine if she didn't do that. This would have never come up.
And the statute of limitations would have run out on everything.
Yeah, because they had a year.
Yeah.
They're talking about the chromium, but they didn't tell them exactly what the chromium was.
Yeah, they were a little deceitful.
So there's two types of chromium. There's hexavalent chromium, and then I think there's chromium 6. That's the healthy version, and they told them that they were using the healthy version.
Tisk.
It's disgusting. It really, really is gross. These people are being poisoned. they see these people not as humans. They see them as just lines on a stat sheet.
that
And
they don't want to get sued for. So if they buy them
Right.
off,
exactly.
the problem is gone. And in the
Right.
process, how about these doctors? The PG&E doctors they hire.
You would think that they would be disbarred.
Talk about not having ethics. Yeah, they should be criminally charged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's gross. And these are common people. I mean, people think of California and they all think of Hollywood and Southern California and everything.
Not in the central part of California.
No,
It's all agriculture.
It's
and this
just
is
like
the desert.
Midwest. Yeah, it's just like the Midwest.
Yeah.
These are common people. They're trusting people. Yeah.
Morons.
Wow. Jesus.
That's a line from
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles, yes.
Morons. Yeah, I know.
Ken's comments do not reflect or the express consent of the podcast.
Of Major League
These
Baseball.
are common folk.
Yeah.
These are common folks.
Morons. But it is. It's horrible. This is not uncommon. I mean, you look at what the steel factories did to Cleveland and the Cleveland River. Well, didn't the Cleveland River light on fire?
No, that was Lake Erie.
Yeah.
The mistake on the lake they used to call Cleveland.
Yeah.
It had so much oil slick on it, they lit it on fire.
Yeah, it burned.
Burn,
baby, burn.
This has happened so many times. And these people have no recourse. And you see how hard it is for them to bring any sort of a lawsuit.
Because they can't agree.
Right. And then they keep moving the goalposts too.
Yep.
Everything's stacked against an average person. And that's not the way it should be. But I mean, as far as the movie, I think that the fact that, like we had said before, she speaks their language.
Because she doesn't look like an attorney. Like when that other girl went in there and tried to talk with them. They're like, who the hell are you?
Right.
Yeah, she talked to them like they were morons.
She's one of them.
She was very... No, not Erin, that other attorney.
Oh, yeah.
She was very condescending.
Exactly.
I don't know if she was condescending. I mean,
I think she was condescending.
I think she was to Erin, but I don't think she was to the clients. I think
she does not know how to talk to humans, and you find that a lot in the law profession. And,
I mean, if we think about it, when she goes out there, and we're getting way far into towards the end of the movie here, but she's like trying to figure out how to get the attention of the guy on the farm. She's a fish out of water. This is not something that she's used to doing, but she's also the right hand person of the partner that they just brought in. So
right.
I think we got to give a little grace on that. Just like Ed's character later on says, you know what, just because she
Erin
did,
tried to tell her. Erin did try to tell her that you're not going to be able to talk to these people this way.
Oh, I guess so. But Ed also tried to tell Erin that, you know what, she's had it hard too. Just because she's a lawyer doesn't mean she didn't have it hard herself, putting herself through law school and work and kissing butt all the way up. I mean,
it sucks. I
mean, that's the thing is
But she's not a common person, and these people in Hinckley are common people. These are farmers. They're common folk. They're not
educated. They believe that, they don't have a lot of money come in, and if a big company comes in and is providing them with health care, kind of stringing them along, telling them, it's a little bad, but we're taking care of it for you.
Yeah, like Marge Helgenberger's character says, Donna Jensen. It was so nice that they provided us with doctors and everything like that.
You would think, though, that a company of this much wealth and is worried about all these people getting sick, that they wouldn't pay top dollar for their land.
For their land?
Because they're underselling.
But that's suspicious. Why are you
Right.
giving me $500,000 for a couple acres of wasteland?
Right.
They're giving them right a little bit above market value.
I thought they were giving it way below, and that's why it went to this pro bono case, because it was a real estate
she just
issue.
wanted Donna Johnson just wanted a lawyer to take a look at it because she didn't want to move.
Right.
She was like, I don't want to move. I don't want to move my house. My husband and I are sick, and we don't want to uproot our kids and everything like that. And we don't. Yeah. So she wanted a lawyer to look at her. She's like, if they want my house, they need to pay for it. In
It
some
doesn't sound
cases,
like a pro bono case. It doesn't sound like something that would go to a judge to give to a law firm to work.
it's hard to say. I mean, it is, at the end of the day, it's a land dispute.
It is.
Essentially, what she wants is somebody to be an arbitrator.
Yeah, pretty much. It is an arbitration deal.
Yeah, I mean, she's
not asking that law firm to negotiate a higher price.
Right.
She really just wants to be an arbitrator to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Right.
This seems a weird pro bono case for an arbitration.
Not, I would say probably it's not that odd. Yeah, and it's one of those weird things that it just happens to fall into the right person's hands, and then PG&E gets exposed for who they are.
Oh, they're an evil company.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
but they supply a lot of electricity to a good chunk of California. They do most of the rural parts of California.
And you see how this operates. They set up and they hide all of the paperwork in the water treatment place. So she has to go through, and nobody keeps those records carefully. And
Apparently
you see the
not.
guy. Yeah, and we see that guy. He's just, all he does is ogle her.
Pretty much.
And
which she's counting on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Right. Because she's not suspicious. Because if she wore a suit like the other attorney, then all of a sudden things are a lot different.
Now she's suspicious.
Right. So it's to Erin's benefit that she is a common person.
Oh yeah. She uses it well.
The real Erin Brockovich said, though, she never used cleavage to get her way into things. So it's interesting because she's got great investigating skills. I mean, first she goes to, I believe that's got to be some type of college that she goes up to kind of get.
Yeah, it is college. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably. Well, I would imagine it's probably Berkeley.
They're not really near San Francisco. They're west of Los Angeles. They're practically in Nevada.
East.
Yeah, east. Yeah, I'm sorry.
West. But either way, I mean,
west. Yeah.
She gets somebody in that area to kind of give her the lowdown on what this is, and then he checks her out as she leaves. But
right, which you'd expect that.
Yeah, she's got great skills. She's got great memory. As we'll find out that later. As Ted said, she's personable. She's friendly. She's all the things that she tried to sell herself as at the beginning of the movie. She is all those things.
She is a people person.
The problem here with her character, though, is because in the beginning of the movie, she has this great relationship with her kids, and she meets, her next door neighbor, who is a Harvey Dent with a,
It is Harvey Dent, yes,
yeah.
With a ponytail,
and a scruffy look,
goatee. Yeah,
bad goatee, yeah. Which, as we said earlier, it's based on a
couple of different people,
multiple characters, and in real life, he does get hired on by the law firm to be the nanny. They make it seem like it's a bigger romance than it really is, and you never get the point where she kind of resolves her issue with her kids. It's kind of, that part of the movie is kind of left out there.
I think her son does kind of understand when he realizes that the one girl is his age.
Yeah, at the end there, yeah.
Yeah, I guess a little bit, yeah, right there. But I don't know if she ever stops. I mean, maybe she does.
No, she doesn't.
But she thinks she's providing for her family, which but she is, and she thinks she's doing what's best for her family, which she might be. She doesn't want to have anything to do with this biker dude from next door and doesn't want to take his help, but then takes advantage of him after the fact.
Well, she's obsessed with the case. Everything is secondary. She's focused on this case, and she expects everyone else to be focused with her and help her out.
Let's use that term "takes advantage" very loosely. He's getting benefits.
I think at first he was getting benefits. I don't think he gets benefits after a while.
Towards the end, no benefits.
And that's why he acts like a jerk and leaves.
Oh, I mean, come on. I mean, you're really kind of being too pro Erin here. I mean, she basically left him to raise her kids. That's unfair to him too. That's not what he signed up for.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, everything that they do, she's working. You know, the kids complain about that she's reading while they're having dinner together. I mean, the movie does a good job of, that she's not ignoring her kids, that she's able to balance everything. They do a good job of saying, hey, when she gets focused here, she ignores the other things that are important in her life because she's thinking she's doing the right thing, right? So,
right.
My dad worked extra hard. I didn't see him there was a few years there where he was just working nonstop. I mean, because he was the person who had to provide. And she has the disadvantage of the fact that there's not a second income coming in, and she's had a hard time finding a job in the first place. She's going to grab this with both hands. And it's the respect factor. She's getting something that she's never had before. And that's what she's saying is people look up to her. People go to her for things. People depend on her. And she's never felt this way before. Problem is, though, is that those type of things are overtaking her relationship with her kids and supposedly her boyfriend, whatever he is.
He's her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like I said, in real life, they don't last very long, and he becomes actually the nanny. So he actually raises the kids while they do the investigation, but they're not together. Getting a job like that can change somebody, especially somebody who's probably hyper fixated like she is.
Mm-hmm. She's fighting for people like her.
Yeah.
And there's something about that will make somebody be driven. When you can see yourself in that other person's shoes, that makes a big difference, especially in a case like what they're dealing with here. Imagine what she's having to go through on a daily basis, talking to people who are sick. The couple with the little girl.
Yeah.
That's goddamn heartbreaking.
True.
That's tear your heart out stuff. And
do we know what happened to the little girl? Did they ever say in the movie?
Most likely she probably died.
Probably died, would be my guess.
Probably.
Yeah.
And Marge Helgenberger does a very good job. But you see the point where she turns and her kids are in the pool.
Yeah.
And there's that abject terror on her face.
But she realizes that she's been lied to.
Right. And that essentially that the water is poisoning them.
Right.
That's gut-wrenching. I mean, just as a parent watching the movie, that's terrifying. I can't even imagine.
But the weird thing is, so they did do some studies about cancer rates in Hinckley, and they did say that they were not higher than expected.
Okay,
so they were right on average of what normal.
That article that was published had a investigative report done on that as well.
So they went after the Los Angeles Times.
They were paid by PG&E. Publication called Mother Jones.
I know Mother Jones. They exposed a Ford Pinto.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mother Jones, they did an expose on the whole thing and found out that all of the things that were omitted from that research that was done, it was trying to paint PG&E and trying to get them out of any further lawsuits, because not only were they sued in Hinckley, was it Kenilworth, California? There's like 3 other places in California where they got sued.
All rural communities.
Yes. Where they did the same thing. They're horrible. I mean, they're not Alcoa bad, but they're close.
Not saying that they're bad. I've not come across the report that you just stated.
That was paid for. There are no corporate sponsors for Mother Jones. And
they're like Consumer Reports, except they don't report against negative.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was a hit piece. The Los Angeles Times. The piece that Ken's talking about said for, what was it, the period of time? What was it, from cancer rates from 1988 to 2003?
1996 to 2008. And this was the California Cancer Registry.
Mother Jones then went and found out. They talked to another organization who actually came in and investigated did their research. PG&E bulldozed a lot of Hinckley. And so that wasn't included in those numbers. So that was all excluded. And the part that was bulldozed was everything that they had bought up before Erin Brockovich got involved and Ed Masry got involved for the lawsuit.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, they completely covered it up and then paid the the LA Times to publish it. The truth sucks.
I mean, the truth is that the town is gone.
It's uninhabitable. There's another town similar to that. It's called Helltown in Pennsylvania. The town's completely abandoned. And on the road, the abandoned road leading into the town, actually somebody had painted on the road, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter." Which is, if you know Dante's Inferno, that's what's written on the gates to hell. That town is actually on fire underneath the town.
Yeah, from the mines.
Yeah, it's been on fire since like 1964.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell anybody that it was on fire. And they killed thousands of people. It's horrible. These companies don't care. They care not one bit.
But that's what makes this such a great movie, is you have a Samson and Goliath.
Exactly. David and Goliath.
You have one little girl and a small attorney firm going after a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
And why do you think we still use the David and Goliath metaphor? Somebody has to stick up for the common person. That's what Mother Jones as a publication does.
Yeah.
The people in this area are still asking for FEMA to come in and help.
They're still asking for the money that they were promised when Brockovich and all them said they were going to get $330 million. The lawyers ate most of that shit up. Anyway.
And taxes. And in the end, we do have to remember this is a movie, so embellishments are going to be made to play up that.
Most likely, but if you do hear these people that do take on these corporations, like the death threat that she gets on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm
sure it happened more than once.
Oh, I'm sure, and there were a lot worse than that.
She's lucky that she didn't get killed.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, look at what was the lady who died in Texas or in Oklahoma. They made a movie about her.
Karen Silkwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
killed her.
In cold blood.
Meryl Streep.
That's what I was trying to place. I mean, this is not uncommon.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's scary when you're taking on
big industry.
Somebody, you hear some of the stories and it make your skin crawl.
Sure.
Yeah.
It takes somebody with boobs,
Ed.
with boobs, with balls to go up and put them on the table and say, you know what, you're not going to do this to me. And she was the person to do it. She's like, I don't have any fucks to give. Bring it on.
My question is, did they actually win? Did they actually do what they set out to do? Because as we've been talking here, nothing seems to be resolved here. So why don't we go ahead to stick the landing, and then we'll talk about the rest of the film.
So knowing that PG&E could slow any settlement for years through delays and appeals, Ed takes the opportunity to arrange for disposition by binding arbitration, but a large majority of the plaintiffs must agree to this. Erin returns to Hinckley and persuades all 634 plaintiffs to go along. And how does she do that, Ted?
Blowjobs.
That's right. While she is there, a man named Charles Embry approaches her to say that he and his cousin were PG&E employees, but his cousin recently died from the poison. The man says he was tasked with destroying documents at PG&E, but as it turns out, he wasn't a very good employee. Embry gives Erin the documents, which include a 1966 memo proving corporate headquarters knew the water was contaminated with hexavalent chromium, did nothing about it, and advised the Hinckley operation to keep this secret. The judge orders PG&E to pay a settlement amount of $333 million to be distributed among the plaintiffs. In the aftermath, Ed hands Erin her bonus payment for the case, but warns her he has changed the amount. She explodes into a complaint that she deserves more respect, but is astonished to find that he's increased it to $2 million.
What do we say at the beginning? Qualified to do the story. I actually worked in St. Charles when Arthur Anderson got raided for the Enron scandal. And I actually knew people who came to bank in St. Charles at the bank that I worked at that worked for Arthur Anderson.
Ah, the accounting firm.
And they were tasked with shredding a lot of documents. As far as everybody knows, that guy is real. He did do that.
Supply the documents?
Right.
The whistleblower? Yeah.
That's what gets them the money. And that's the only reason that they win the binding arbitration.
And I mean, the hardest part of this movie is convincing that going in front of a judge and getting your day in court in front of a jury is not how this is going to get you a victory.
This is another way that the system is rigged.
It stalled them out for decades.
Exactly, because Ed brings up the case from 1978
right.
that they were still looking for.
Correct.
For money, and that's so typical.
That was Love Canal, wasn't he was talking about?
Yeah,
Love Canal. Yeah,
the airline.
It's right. So binding arbitration was apparently the only way to go, but you risk it. It's a gamble.
It's a huge gamble.
Yes.
Because then you have to worry: is the judge that you're going before
on the take sympathetic? Yeah,
which is why judges should not have to run for office.
True. Those nice donations come in for the fund. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to worry if you go to the binding arbitration. You have to hope that the judge isn't on the take.
But you also have to know that if the judge is, let's say, by the law, and let's just say Charles Embry doesn't come up and approach her,
then they don't have a case.
They don't have a class action lawsuit.
Right.
Weren't they trying to get this class action lawsuit before she even found out about Charles Embry?
They were going to try, but you heard what the difference was.
40 to 330 million.
40 to 400 million. Because Ed and Erin get through the first hurdle where the judge could have just wiped everything out offshoot, that's how they're able to go forward. Because basically what the judge told them was that they do have a suit. So this is exactly, I mean, as far as law goes, this is a very accurate portrayal of what happens. You can be stopped dead in your tracks right to begin with. And luckily they had a judge who, in this case, he lived close to Hinckley and was disturbed by what he read. He went by the letter of the law and said that
I am the law.
Their objections, that PG&E's objections to the lawsuits are wrong. Which brings up my favorite part of the whole movie, is when they're sitting down with the PG&E lawyers, and Erin looks at her and says, "We brought that water in from Hinckley as she's getting ready to take a drink."
Especially for you, yeah.
Really happened.
Yeah.
Good. They need to get a taste of their own medicine.
Taste of their own water.
Exactly.
Don't know if they actually did drink the water, but
they should have been forced to drink it.
Yeah, but then they would be in trouble if they knew that they were giving them poison, so they probably should have warned them beforehand.
Well, PG&E also poisoned entire communities.
No, I get that. I get it. I'm just saying that if it's proven that water was poison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She was proving a point.
Right. That's what. Yeah. I want to point out that I think this is where Albert Finney is doing his best work, especially when he's talking to the townspeople and trying to show them why it's important to go through arbitration. Because
it sucks. They can throw so much paperwork at the system that the cogs don't move.
And I think that's why the relationship between, Erin and Ed work really well because Erin doesn't understand how the law actually works. She just thinks that, hey, all I have to do is show that something isn't right and people are going to take care of it. And that's like, no, that's not how the game is played. And I think he teaches her something, especially when he does present the case to the townspeople. She learns from him, and he learns from her. He learns how to, to care for people.
Right.
I'm not saying that he didn't care for people to begin with, because if he didn't, he probably wouldn't let her have that job, right? He is sympathetic to a certain extent, right? He seems like a decent guy, and she worked for him for a while after this movie was
quite a long time
released.
And I love
until
Albert Finney's portrayal.
Oh, Albert Finney is great in this movie.
Did he get nominated?
Oh, if he didn't, he should have.
I think he did, actually. I think Albert Finney did get nominated for Best Supporting.
He should have probably won. It's
probably his last great role, to be honest with you. I mean, he's had some other roles after this, but I think this might have been... I mean, his career was kind of on a downswing, I think, at this particular time, and I think
that's why he had to be convinced to take the role.
Kind of like almost semi-retirement, probably, by this particular time.
Kind of like Oliver Reed for Gladiator.
Except he didn't die while the movie was still being made.
Right, exactly. And he's picked up enough from Erin to get through that town hall meeting. Because everybody's getting ready to walk out, he's able to stop them with the story about the airline.
Well, he has a big task in it. He's the middleman here. He's got the new partner that he's brought in that is the expert, the guy who can get you the most money for this situation. And you got Erin, who's basically like, about the people. It's not necessarily about the money. We want the money, of course, and I want to do right by the people, but I want their story to be told. I want them to pay for what they've done. That's what she's focused on.
Because Erin wants that day in court too.
And he's in the middle. And he's going back and forth. And sometimes in her eyes, he looks like the enemy, that he's hiding things from her. When all he's doing is he's just trying to do a balancing act between the two things that need to happen.
I think one of the reasons I'm more sympathetic to her character and these townspeople, this could have happened where I grew up. They're smart people in their own right, but they're simple people. They're not educated in the ways of law. And
they're trusting.
They believe, essentially, they believe what the Bible teaches, you do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
It's a company that's in their town.
Because they're the major employer.
That has their best interest in mind, right? A lot of towns rely on that one company to take care of them, and then when that company gets up and leaves, the town dies.
Yeah,
and
like Detroit,
West Virginia with the mine towns.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh went through some of that stuff.
Pittsburgh, too. Gary, the steel industry.
Gary, Indiana, especially, yes.
When you put all your eggs in one basket and that basket leaves, you're in trouble.
Yeah, Youngstown, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole idea of the company town that Woody Guthrie sang about, that was because of the mines.
Allentown by Billy Joel.
Yeah, Allentown too, yeah. Because you grow up devoted to a town, or to that company.
Yeah, like Tommy Boy's dad dying and almost killed the town.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
You had to go there, didn't you? Anyway, these are people that I know. You know what I mean? It sucks when you're abused that way.
We were talking a little bit earlier about how the partner's assistant does things her way, and
it's made for comedy, but it's
Erin just lays into her. But that's the thing, is Erin is also somebody that doesn't trust anybody that hasn't led a life like she has. Like you were just saying,
she doesn't trust anybody in a suit. That's perfectly reasonable for a common person.
Yeah, she doesn't trust Ed. She doesn't trust Ed almost to the end. He earns that trust there, like I said, at that meeting, with the townsfolk. She's also wrong because, like I said earlier, other people, she doesn't know where this person came from. She may have came from the same type of town that she did, but she had the opportunity to go to college and law school and build herself up.
It's like a dog that's been hit. When you've always been dismissed and treated like crap, that's what you revert to when you feel that somebody's starting to talk down to you.
Yeah, but you also got to understand that not everybody recognizes somebody who has a photogenic memory. I mean, that the way that she was able to talk about each of those cases, there's barely anybody in the world that can do that. We don't know anybody that can do that.
I have no.
Her being a lawyer is right by saying, well, we need to go because there's phone numbers here that are not on the page that we need to get. How is she supposed to know that Erin knows these by heart?
True. So, what are the odds of that, right?
What are the odds of it? Exactly.
Yeah, they need to do their due diligence, which is another legal term.
But Erin doesn't see that. Erin doesn't see that. She's thinking, you're taking my people away from me, and I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to make you feel bad about it. I'm going to go after you. And that's what she did. And that's why Ed later on goes, what you did in there were wrong. He's like, right now, I wish,
Charm school.
Yeah,
Charm school.
Exactly. That's why I love the Ed character. I think he's kind of undersold, this character, because of the great job that Julia Roberts does with her portrayal. I think this might be his best work of all the.
Probably
it might be
Albert Finney.
Yeah. I mean, this is my favorite film of his.
Annie?
Nah, nothing. There was a movie called Looker.
Oh, Looker! Yeah. From like 80 or 81.
81, yeah.
I remember Looker with the little glasses you'd wear. And
I was only 2 years old.
There was
a very young Sandra Day from the Partridge Family.
Oh, Susan Day.
Susan Day.
Yeah, Susan Day.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
These two carry the film.
It's about them. It's about them.
Yeah, you gave us a list of characters, but to be honest with you, if you would have stopped at those two, I would have been fine with that.
A lot of them are the townspeople, but I think Marge Helgenberger does a very good job in this movie. This is pre-CSI.
Yeah, she does a great job.
I really feel her character. And then, of course, the parents of the little girl. That tears my heart out every time I watch them.
That was great. A great scene with Erin telling her how beautiful she is and how she's going to be.
See, this is the thing, and why the people in that town hall meeting, they want their pound of flesh, and the fact that the system is stacked so against that is not right. If you're misdone that way, you should be able to have your day in court. Because if somebody comes up to you and murders a family member, you have the right to meet that person in court. Whereas these corporations, they don't have to meet anybody in court.
Yep, that's the way the world is.
It's bull, it is.
Yeah, but
that's the system that we have. So I completely understand why they want their day in court.
Of course.
And Erin wants her day in court.
She does.
Because she wants their stories told. If they want all of the individual stories told, it has to be a major expose done by somebody like the Spotlight team.
Or a feature film.
Mm-hmm.
Or a publication.
You're lucky getting that out. Jeez. But here's the thing. I mean, we're going to be talking about the results of the case now. So they get the $333 million.
They win the judgment. Yes, they win.
Right. Yeah. So Donna Johnson's told that not only is they settled for $333 million, that she's getting $5 million. We're led to believe at the end of this movie that they live happily ever after, right? Which is not the case.
Nobody here is going to live happily ever after, but
they don't really even see that type of money come in.
That's hard to say because we don't know what the actual judgment was. It is not uncommon, though, in one of these massive class action lawsuits for somebody to be picked out as the person who started it to get a chunk like that.
We don't know, though, that $5 million was a true amount because technically they can't disclose how much money they got.
I'm sure one of the things that was part of the binding arbitration was PG&E made sure that nothing was disclosed.
Right.
And
except for the $333 million.
Right. So we don't know how that was divvied up. We don't know if Don Johnson gets $5 million or $2 million or $500,000. We don't know what the number truly is, but we're led to believe that Julia Roberts says, Erin's character, that you're going to be taken care of. That $5 million is going to take care of you.
In the movie, it does. And because she's going to die. Marge Helgenberger's character, Donna Jensen's going to die.
They're all going to die.
Donna Jensen from the movie Erin Brockovich is not a real person, actually.
Yeah, I didn't think
the character was a composite of several real people, with Roberta Rockler being the primary inspiration. But she was interviewed by that special. So she was still alive at that time.
I'm sure that they were able to interview some people.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure it's probably kids now that lived there and were part of it. I'm sure the original people who were part of the lawsuit, I mean, they possibly could still be. But
potentially.
It makes sense that Donna Jensen is a composite of multiple different people.
I never really thought of that. I as you watch the movie, you don't, and that's the good thing about a good movie is you do not think of a composite character. You're actually getting tied into the individual stories of these people. You're not thinking of them as this is a composite of 15 different people in the city into one mash. While you're watching this movie, you're honed in. It brought you to tears. You're honed in on that character.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and that's good. And because I mean, if they went and highlighted every single person, there would have been a 9.5-hour documentary.
No, and that's the mark of a good director and a good writer.
Exactly.
As you can draw that type of emotion and make it seem like it is an actual real person.
And the writing here is great.
It is.
Because they hit on the common person and make that person relatable, and you understand that it's them versus this machine that doesn't feel. That little pissant that comes in to start off with.
Oh, the initial that totally offends Ed.
That offered $250,000.
He's like a mail clerk.
It was ABC News did a special in 2021.
That might be an interesting watch, actually.
Well, see, here's the thing, because they're still having problems with PG&E to this day, where Californians have been brought to vote on whether or not that they should make PG&E public.
I'm not going to go on a tirade of California,
but
they
do things differently.
California has propositions that they like to vote on.
Oh, they have whole bunches of them.
Yeah.
What was this last election? They had like 90 some propositions on the ballot.
They like their props, but PG&E, PG is never going to be a private company.
No, of course not.
No.
We haven't really talked enough about the writing. The writing here is really great. The writer does a very good job, and I think with most of Soderbergh's work, I think he does a very good job.
And I would say that Julia Roberts is worth that $20 million for this role.
Hell yeah.
She played the part. It was so believable. The writing was great. Everything was great. I mean, tipping my hat here. This is one of my favorite movies, but she just pulled that off so well.
It's probably her defining role.
That and Pretty Woman. People love to throw Pretty Woman out there, but yes, I would say I say this tops Pretty Woman, but people love Pretty Woman.
As an actress?
Yes.
Or as an actor?
As an actress, yes. This is her defining role. Some people would say Ocean's 12. I don't know.
Pretty Woman is always what she's going to also be known for as well.
Right.
I mean, that put her on the map. And this movie. These are probably the two iconic roles of her lifetime. Some of my female friends, and probably would say Steel Magnolias, want to just put this out here. So with that interview, since we talked about it and kind of clear the air of what really happened, so Roberta Walker was the person that went to get the housing situation.
Oh, Masri Vetro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is what happened. It's happened to her since. She's after years of exposure to the chromium-6, she's had 5 stomach surgeries and 3 breast surgeries. Both of her daughters have had hysterectomies and fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
Yep. And her husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and they all have had asthma. She believes that the illness comes from the contaminated water.
Oh, clear as day. Yeah.
Yeah. She said the character inspired by her in the film. Don Jensen was awarded $5 million, but Walker said she received far less. I didn't even receive a fraction of that. Walker explained it made it look like we won, and we really didn't. The money did not fix the problem for me, not at all. And they actually ended up buying her house, and they used the proceeds of that house for $250,000, which he used to buy a new house.
It's a movie.
Loosely playing with it's a movie.
It's a
Yeah.
movie. Nobody's going to be satisfied.
I'm not going to knock
mean,
it for this, by the way, like I normally would.
Right.
So,
Well, so okay, at the end of the movie, you're having that big gut wrenching scene where you're going to say, you're going to be awarded $5 million. What are you going to say? You're going to be awarded 12.5. I mean, or whatever the number was. Right. You got to have the happy ending. If it's for a depressing movie, you got to have a good figure, and I get it.
Lawyers won.
Well, of course the lawyers won. Lawyers always win.
Guess
Erin
who always wins?
Erin won.
Did Erin get this $2 million her legit bonus?
She actually got 2.5.
Yeah, she actually got 2.5.
Did she donate it back to the residents?
I would not believe so.
She went on a coke binge?
No,
I do not believe so. But she's still an active, person for.
No, she is. I know
cases like that.
Yeah. I know. She's a consumer advocate. No, I know.
She's received 3 honorary doctorates for her work and everything that she's done. Hinckley wasn't the only PG&E lawsuit.
No, she's gone after a few.
And she also did one in St. Joseph, Missouri, which isn't too far away.
That's Kansas City.
As far as the real life payout, nobody's ever going to be satisfied with what they get. Let's be honest. What PG&E should have been forced to pay?
They want PG&E to file bankruptcy. They want them done.
They should have been forced out of business. For what they did, that should have been criminal. And second of all, they should have been forced out of business and have the utilities put back into the people's hands. So I don't blame them for wanting that. You look at the settlement that people got from the big tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
Those people still haven't seen that money, and most will never. Not everybody's going to be satisfied with the outcome of what happens there. Because at the beginning of the podcast, we all made fun. I got paid $1.98 and what from class action.
Well, on a big class action, that's very common.
Yeah.
Pennies. You were literally getting pennies. So should we go to our reviews?
Let's go to our review.
Well, let's kick it off with Ted.
I love this movie. It's a great movie. I hadn't watched it in quite a while, and I don't know exactly why. I thoroughly enjoy the movie.
Because you're busy watching Marvel flicks.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to watch it all the time because it is quite depressing. Even though it does have the
pseudo happy ending. Yeah.
But no, it's well acted, it's well directed, and it's well written. This is a story that needed to be told, and not just in a written form. So for me, this movie's it's a solid 4, if not 4.25. I'm kind of trying to decide. Let's go with 4.25 because I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I think this is by far Julia Roberts' best role, and I think that she definitely deserved the Oscar for this movie.
How about you, Ken?
I'm trying to decide if this or Julia Roberts as Hooker with a Heart of Gold is her best movie. Anyway, the blowjobs and the Hooker. They're these are go hand in hand.
Apparently.
Anyway, I like the movie. There's I always have fun picking apart based on true story movies. But the reason why this movie works is the performances. This could be just your average David versus Goliath type of story, but the two leads make it work. It's their differences and how they come together subtly, very subtly, actually. It's not so pronounced. There's these little things they do here and there that make them work together, and the results of course, is winning the case. And I think the director was trying to put a Rocky and All the President's Men type of feel to it. Is what I read.
It's an interesting scenario.
Yeah, the underdog and the investigating reporting. So I could see how where he would get inspiration from those two movies, and it is inspirational. You root for them because of all. Yeah, you feel for them because of all that they're going through, and they've been duped,
It's one way to put it.
convinced that that they had the best town's interest at heart, and of course they don't. At the end of the day, it's one of those movies that I'm not going to probably watch again, just because it's just not a go-to movie for me. I mean, if it's on, it doesn't mean I wouldn't turn it off, but I won't search it out. It's an enjoyable movie. It's well made. I wish I had two categories here. One for like what I think is a technical aspect of it, which then it would be much higher because it's really well made. But as far as like an enjoyment level, it's more like a 3.75 Hook for me. It's a good movie. It's just one that I probably wouldn't have came back to this movie, but the podcast brought me back. It's like the Mafia. It's like
Once
just
you
like
were
I was
out,
out, brought me back
pull
in.
me back in.
I
Yep.
see. A little Godfather 3, huh? Okay.
Yeah, this is much better than that.
Or Sopranos reference.
Or Sopranos, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about you, Eric?
Well, this movie, I love this movie. I believe this is my pick, wasn't it? I believe it was, yeah.
Yes, it was.
So I haven't watched this movie in a couple of years, and I'm really glad that we reviewed it and watched it again. I love the acting in it. I love the plot. I love the script. It's just an incredible movie. The fact that there's so many things that kind of take it away from that being a more true to life scenario, kind of takes a little bit out of it, but not enough to really ding it too bad. It's a great movie. I'm glad she won. I watch it. I'm going to continue to watch this thing. For me, it's 4.5 hooks. It's just that good. So, Ken, what are we going to be doing next?
Our next movie is the 25th anniversary of a small little film called State and Maine. A very great cast, including Alec Baldwin, Sarah Jessica Parker, just to name a couple. William H. Macy. It's like under the radar gem of a movie.
It is definitely under the radar. I haven't seen it in quite some time, so I'm looking forward to watching it again. And Ted, I don't believe you've ever seen it?
No, I've not. But I actually love the writer of the movie, David Mamet. So
Yeah. I mean, it's got a really, really good cast. It really been 20 years, 25 years?
25 years.
Oh, it's crazy.
we're old.
We are old. I know. Well, cool. Look forward to that one. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of Hooked on Movies. As always, go ahead, make my day.
See you at the movies.
See you next time at Hooked on Movies.